I hate that I'm making this video, I really do, because this should have been the easiest W of all time. An MMORPG set in the Lord of the Mysteries universe should be untouchable. That setting alone clears half the genre. Victorian vibes, secret societies, forbidden knowledge, power systems that actively punish you for engaging with them. That's not just good world building, that's MMO crack. You could live in that world for years. And yet here I am, wide awake, doom scrolling dev posts and trailers, feeling that familiar itchy sensation in the back of my brain. That, oh no, not again feeling. The one you get right before a game you were excited for starts doing that thing. Because the more I look at the Lord of the Mysteries MMO, everything looks right, while at the same time avoiding the questions that actually matter. And when a game does that, especially on MMO, it's never by accident. But let me give credit where it's earned. Visually and tonally, this game understands the assignment. Unreal Engine 5 is flexing hard. But it's not just about resolution and lighting, it's about mood. The fog isn't just there to look cinematic. The streets feel quiet in a way that makes you uncomfortable. This matters because Lord of the Mysteries isn't about flashy power fantasy. It's about paranoia, about knowing too much, about walking into places you probably shouldn't be in. And so far, Spark Nexus seems to get that. The environment tells a story before any dialogue does, and that's rare. But here's the problem. Atmosphere is the easiest thing to get right when you have money and strong IP. What actually defines an MMO is what happens after the novelty wears off. When players stop sightseeing and start asking, okay, what am I actually doing here? And right now, the game has no answer. The game is officially labeled as an MMORPG. That's the word they keep using, and yet not a single piece of footage they've shown actually proves that claim. Just think about it. Everything we've seen so far is walking, slow exploration, city tours, characters moving through streets, no group combat, no party UI, no shared objectives, no dynamic player interaction, no systems being demonstrated. Nothing that visually communicates this is a massively multiplayer game. At best, what they've shown looks like a single player or a co-op RPG with other players theoretically existing somewhere off screen. And that's a huge issue, because MMOs don't get the benefit of the doubt anymore. Players have been burned too many times by games that say MMO but play like a glorified hubs with instance content and minimal social depth. If this is really a full MMO, then they should have probably showed it. Show player density, show cooperation, show systems interacting with other systems. Because right now we're being asked to trust the label, not the evidence. The Beyonder system is the soul of Lord of Mysteries. Everything revolves around it. Power isn't just progression, it's risk. Every step forward comes with consequences, instability, and the possibility of completely ruining yourself. So how does that translate into gameplay? We don't know, and that's terrifying. There's been no real explanation of how sequences work mechanically. Are they branching paths? Are choices permanent? Can you lock yourself out of content? Can you spiral into failure? Or is it just a clean skill tree with respect and cooldowns? Because those two interpretations couldn't be further apart. If Beyonder progression ends up being safe, reversible and optimized, then the game will technically function. But emotionally it will fail. And the longer the devs avoid explaining the system, the more it feels like they're afraid of showing it. Now let's talk about the part everyone dances around. This is a Chinese developed game, and that context matters. Not automatically in a bad way, but in a realistic one. Chinese RPGs have been killing it lately in the Western market. Black Myth Wukong completely changed perceptions overnight, while Where Winds Meet turned heads with its ambition and presentation. These games prove that Chinese studios can absolutely compete on a global stage in terms of visuals, scale and atmosphere. So the idea that a Chinese studio could do justice to Lord of Mysteries is totally believable. But MMOs are a different beast, because alongside those successes, there's also a long history of aggressive monetization models in Chinese RPGs. Systems that prioritize retention metrics, power progression shortcuts, and convenience purchases that quietly drift into pay-to-win territory. And here's the problem, we have zero clarity on monetization, of course. No confirmation if this is a buy-to-play, free-to-play, subscription-based or something else entirely. No mention of gacha mechanics, no word on cash shops, no reassurance about power being locked behind spending. That silence doesn't necessarily mean it's bad, but it absolutely doesn't mean it's good either. Time will tell. Lord of Mysteries MMORPG is being developed for PC and mobile, with cross-platform support heavily implied. And that single fact alone answers more questions than the devs have. Cross-platform MMOs almost always designed downward. Combat complexity gets simplified, encounter design gets flattened, systems get streamlined so they work on touchscreens, and monetization systems tend to follow mobile-friendly logic. That doesn't automatically doom the game, but it does put a ceiling on how deep and punishing systems can be. What makes this even more confusing is that despite mobile support, early reports and beta information suggest very high PC performance demands, especially tied to Unreal Engine 5 features. That's a weird contradiction. A game trying to support phones while also requiring high-end PCs is walking a very dangerous line. Who exactly is this game for? Because right now, it feels like it's trying to be everything at once, and that rarely ends well. But here's the thing I keep coming back to. I don't think this game is going to be bad. That's not the fear. The fear is that it's going to be safe. A beautiful MMO, faithful environments, clean systems, familiar progression, monetization that technically isn't paid to win. An experience that looks impressive, plays smoothly, and completely avoids the discomfort that defines the Lord of Mysteries. That would be the real loss, because this universe isn't supposed to feel comfortable. Power should feel wrong, knowledge should feel dangerous, progression should make you hesitate before clicking confirm. If this becomes just another MMO with gothic wallpaper, people will play it for sure, and then quietly forget about it. And after all that, I want to be clear about something. I don't actually want this game to fail. I think it has real potential, especially in the West, if it manages to hit the things Western MMO players actually care about. Meaningful progression, strong social systems, fair monetization, and enough long-term depth to justify calling itself an MMO. And if Spark Nexa somehow nails all of that, this could genuinely break out beyond just existing Lord of Mystery fans. And the timing matters here. The game is heading into closed beta very soon, which means a lot of the speculation is about to be tested against reality. Once real players get hands-on time, we'll finally see what kind of game this actually is. How the combat feels, how progression works, and whether this really functions as an MMO or just looks like one. A lot of unanswered questions are about to either disappear or get much louder. I also think it's worth saying this. If anyone can pull off a successful MMO launch in the Western market right now, it's probably a well-funded Chinese studio with serious backing and long-term support. We've already seen Chinese developers prove themselves on the global stage. The talent is there, the ambition is there, and the resources are definitely there. That said, I still believe this project would have been an easier and possibly bigger path to success as a single-player RPG with online features, rather than a full MMORPG. Something closer to where winds meet. A strong personal narrative, optional co-op, shared social spaces, but not fully dependent on MMO-style endgame loops and long-term retention systems. That structure fits Lord of Mysteries incredibly well. It allows for slower pacing, real consequences, and player choice without needing to balance everything around thousands of people chasing efficiency. MMOs, especially in the West, are a brutal genre right now. They're expensive, they're hard to maintain, and they demand constant content just to stay relevant. Even good MMOs struggle to survive unless they're doing something truly special. Player patience is low, competition is relentless, and one bad monetization decision or a patch can permanently damage trust. So yeah, I am skeptical, but I'm not writing this one off. If Spark Nexa uses the beta period wisely, listens to feedback, and proves that this is more than just a beautiful world with an MMO label attached, this game could absolutely cook on the West. We are about to learn a lot very quickly about Lord of Mysteries MMORPG, because once the beta hits, the guessing stops and the real conversation begins.